Okay, let's refresh this. You can see me? Maybe? Hello? Sorry. Cool, that's good that you can hear me. Can you see me? Ugh, my phone's still showing me offline. Okay, so Dr. Kegel's confirming that sound and video are working, so I will not pay attention to my little phone. So hi. Maybe better. I don't know. Okay, so hi, I'm Joshua. I am working on a game called Delver. That's a website for it right there, delvergame.com. It's a procedural first-person roguelike. I mean, people always seem to get really touchy about the term roguelike. So it has procedural generation. It has inventory management. It has permadeath. That seems to be a good chunk of what roguelikes are. So I use it pretty willy-nilly. But yeah, it's a first-person dungeon crawler, procedural stuff, kind of in the vein of Doom and in Ultima Underworld. So the Delver project is 2 people. I am one of them. I do all of the visual assets and level design and 2D, 3D, whatever needs to be done. It's kind of we wear lots of hats. We're a small team. And then the other half of Delver is a guy named Chad, and he does all the programming and business and all that other good stuff. So for those of you who do regularly kind of come and hang out, you notice things are a little bit different today, and that's because I'm on vacation, technically. So I'm streaming from a hotel room right now. So today is going to be a shorter stream, but I didn't want to miss a Sunday, so I'm taking maybe an hour or so out of my vacation to kind of hang out with you folks. There's some new stuff I want to talk to you about, which is pretty cool, and yeah, let's just kind of jump into that. Let me since I'm working since I'm on the road and I only have my one laptop, like you're going to see a lot of the stuff I normally do on the second screen. You're going to have to kind of bear with me on that. This is my little cheat sheet, or my little cheat command for Git, so that we can just do some pretty printing of a Git log, so we can see what's been going on the last week. Make sure we're up to date. Cool. Let's paste that in there. Come on. There we go. So yeah, we've been actually getting a decent little bit of work done this past week. Let me make sure. Yeah, so also I guess this week was Steam Dev Days up in Seattle. And both Chad and I went and attended that, and it was pretty good. It was interesting. This year they opened it up to all developers, so we had some non-Steam developers there, which was kind of interesting. But I assume that they wanted to be on the platform. So the talks. So it seemed like the talks were primarily split between. Like it seemed like one track was for people new to Steam, and it was kind of like a crash course into Steam, which is okay. It's kind of a refresher for me, but it's good to know this stuff, and they give some practices, but nothing revolutionary there. And then the other tracks were really VR heavy focused, which is really cool and exciting. It's just early days for VR, and like I'd love to do a VR project, but I'm just not sure how much time I can afford to sink into one. Let me see. Okay, so. Let's see. Dr. Kegel says different camera angle. Yeah, so I'm using my built-in camera because I'm just doing the mobile thing today. So using my laptop. So Krogan says, "I pity you, Windows user." To be honest, Delver is PC, Mac, Linux, and Android, and I have 2 computers. One is Windows, and one is Mac, and I develop pretty much equally between the two. um, just to make sure that we work good in both places. Um, I use Windows for my streaming, just mostly because this is the more powerful machine. So that's the one I kind of opt in for because I give you guys a better quality streaming experience. But I'm pretty agnostic when it comes to platform. I really don't care. I can use either pretty equally. So Hawaii Beach is commenting on Android. Yeah, so Delver was on Android first, actually. The really, really old version about 4 years ago came out on Android. And that is how Chad got a little bit of money. And he hired me on his contract before pulling me on the project full time. So before this morning, I've done a little live stream on the new Delver update. Oh, cool! Thank you for streaming Delver. That means a lot to me. We love it when people we love it when people stream us because we're procedural, and I just love to see what you guys do. Like it's always interesting. Sometimes I'm surprised, and that's really cool to watch some of the stuff you guys do. And some of you guys are really good at trick jumping and like potion jumping, which we never really intended, but it's really cool that you folks have kind of figured that out. D3RM4STR says, hi, do I know the Sphax texture pack for €5? Yeah, I do know about the Sphax texture pack. It's one of those things where he created the pack and started selling it pretty early on, even before we had any sort of success, which was weird. This is a weird topic because we don't want our mods to be sold because we think that mods are a good way for people to learn about game development and to kind of share their work with each other and get better as a community. And that's like how Chad and I started. I started off by modding Quake stuff, and because all the Quake mods were free, there's just tons of resources out there for me to actually learn it. And we're worried that if we start allowing people to charge for mods, that I don't really necessarily want to split between a pro and amateur mod scene. I just want to have just one mod scene. And it's also weird that it almost costs the same amount as Delver, which is also strange. And another thing, too, is whenever we do updates, I tend to break him, and I feel bad about that. But we are in early access, and we are making breaking changes in early access. I will try to be good about going onto the Steam forums under the mod forums and kind of just posting, like, if I do break mod compatibility, I'll try to outline what I've done. But yeah, if you have any comments about that, let me know. So this past week has been all kinds of work on improving the wands and improving the effects for the wands. So we have a paralyzed wand now. The magic missile wand is now basically like a machine gun. I'll preview that when I'm done kind of going through this list, which is kind of cool. Yep, and then we're just tweaking this stuff. Chad had a crash fix. More tweaking of the wand. Not only in the visuals, but also in the timing of it, because we want it to feel good. Tweaking the crosshair, tweaking the bow. I went back through and added some new art for the missile and paralyzed wand. It was one of those things where last stream I spent a lot of time making art for the paralyzed wand that never really landed. It's just one of those things where you just kind of have to explore a design space. And I was kind of joking about, basically the next day after, when I was not on stream, I found out a pretty good solution, and I'm pretty happy with it. Now this is the sprite beams can be placed in the editor. I'm really curious about that. I might try to play around with that. We'll see. I tweaked the bright potion shape a little bit. Again, so initially the potions were only differentiated by color. So the potions now also have a unique shape, and this is just an affordance for folks who are colorblind. So this is just me tweaking that shape. More tweaking of the magic missile stuff. Yep. Just, and again, more effects work. And let me make sure that everything is still groovy. Yep, looks like I'm still going. So I will keep talking. Yep, everything's good. Let me go ahead and just fire up desktop, and I'll show you kind of the new stuff we're doing on the wands. Um, there will be. So Captain O James says, will there be a possibility to add co-op mode, maybe with local gamepad and online? We'd love to do something with multi, but I think that's outside the scope of Delver. Like we really would like to have Delver like complete and done by next year. And basically, if we were to add multiplayer, we'd have to kind of basically rewrite the engine and also kind of rework all of our designs, because right now we built this entirely for single player. I would love to work with Chad on a future project with like a Delver with friends kind of thing, but right now Delver is a single player game. So the Missile Wand and the Paralyze Wand are the two new wands we've been tweaking. And if you folks have noticed, the wands in Delver are kind of just like, they're basically the equivalent of a first-person shooter like weapon. So like here is the lightning wand. You can charge it up and let go, and it's basically the railgun. Ooh, Chad has tweaked the art for that, so maybe I should revisit that. It looks nice. Can I? Very cool. So that's new. But yeah, this is basically functionally a railgun, where it does a like an animated raycast, and it kind of pierces through all the enemies. And let me see, the Ice Wand is kind of our equivalent of a shotgun. So it does a spread attack, excuse me, and it will slow down the enemy's movement, which can be useful, especially if you're dealing with a group of enemies. You can kind of blast them with this and slow down some of them, so you can kind of position yourself better. So talked about that one. Talked about that one. The Fire Wand. So the Fire Wand, it does 4 to 24 damage, which is kind of a huge range. But this, I kind of want to retool this to be more like a rocket launcher. So I want to have it have a bigger splash and like a fancy animation when it hits. And I do have the animation ready to go. It's just just hooking it up. But yeah, I'd like this to kind of basically play like a rocket launcher, where it's a heavy hitting and like knockbacky kind of weapon. We have the Paralyze Wand, which is I tweaked the art of the old Missile Wand a little bit. I've been trying to play with the shot speed too, but basically that's too fast. But this will paralyze enemies, so they will stop in their tracks, and they should stop attacking. I know we've been working on that, so that way you can kind of again, like you could stop them, and then you can kind of maybe deal with like smaller enemies, and they come back to this big enemy that you've paralyzed. Talked about that one, and then the Missile Wand, which is one I'm excited about. This one is kind of like a throwback to the Wand in Heretic, but it's a little bit more beefy. Where I felt like the Wand in Heretic, like if you were using that, like you were kind of on your last legs. Yeah, it's like the old '90s FPS games had this balance where, for the most part, like the initial weapon they gave you was not good, and it didn't really feel good to use. And with this, we're trying to make it super useful. Like it does a pretty quick and a pretty fast stream of attacks, but it only does 1 to 2 points of damage, whereas this one does 4 to 24, and this one does, I forget how much it does. Let's take a look. Paralyzed Wand does 8 to 28. So yeah, whereas the other ones are pretty hard hitting, this one makes up for with speed, and I'm pretty excited to get that into the players' hands, and just to see how things work out, because right now we haven't done a super amount of balance. We kind of we try to get stuff working and make it feel good, and then we kind of put it in game, and then we try to circle back with you guys and see what's working, what's not working, what needs to be tweaked. So I'm excited for you guys to get around to playing with that. Yeah. Let me see. So people still talking about PvP. Yeah, no, like again, Delver's not multiplayer. I'd like to do a multiplayer project in the future, but this is not going to be it. Krogan saying, or ex-Rogan is saying, could it be possible to consume something and restock the wand charges? I mean, that's always been a request, and so you can restock charges by when you level up. you can put a point into magic, and you get a charge back on all of your wands. Let me see if I can do it real quick. But it's kind of random and it's kind of hit or miss when you actually get to it. So it's not a very reliable way to recharge your wands. I think we drop a fair share of wands. Like we drop a lot. So I don't know if you're having issues with just, are you running out of wand shots, or why do you want to refill your wand shots? Is my question maybe. And you guys say you absolutely need a resolution setting? Is there something broken with your resolution setting, Captain O'James? Okay, so that should be the preview of the new stuff. Let me think. Fire up Photoshop. Yeah, I kind of like that wands are temporary. It's an interesting design choice. I don't know. That the thing is if you could recharge wands, you'd probably only play with one wand, right? Like you'd find the one you like and you'd just stick with it the entire game. And I think it's a little bit more interesting that you're kind of forced to kind of pick and choose wands. And also, I know folks also tend to save wands towards the end too to help them get back out. So. Because they're a consumable, I think it's a little bit more interesting. We could bump up the number of charges maybe, if that's the issue. And I have a feedback loop of white noise in my mic. Is it really bad? I'm sorry. Let me pull this down a little. Maybe if I lower it a little bit, it's not so bad, hopefully. Maybe it was picking up the probably the fan off my computer or something. Let me see. So focusing on a wand as a mean attack is pretty useless if you can't plan ahead the current level. Okay, so I lowered the volume on my mic, so hopefully it doesn't pick up as much of the fan noise as it has been. Cool. Let me see. Yep, so there is the new wand and the old wands. Actually, I kind of like the fact that it has a little crystal. Because these wands, I don't know, they kind of look, they've been there a while and don't really like the way they look, so maybe I'll play around with adding some new wand art real quick. So this is going to be kind of a shorter stream. Okay. Nope, that's not what I meant. Let's see, is my little guy working? Yeah. Course is not set up. Oh well. Let me see. So I want to I think it might be interesting to add some sort of gem, but not the exact same gem to the end of the other wands. Maybe play around with the size and shape of it too, and also the colors. So Krogan says he stocks up on wands and uses them when he has to have flying enemies. So with flying enemies, can you? Because a lot of times I tend to avoid them if I can, or I lure them into shallow areas. Because strangely enough, like I tend to play um, like exclusively with maces and hammers. That's kind of the style that I ended up playing with. Um, hmm. Hmm. What else could be cool? Like it has a different handle. Maybe if this was actually a square, that could be interesting, right? Um, just to make it a little bit different than this guy. If there's a square, do I need this? Oh, come on. Sorry, I'm not used to. Um, I have my old, well, not old, but this is a smaller Wacom pad that I have that I use sometimes. I guess I haven't used it recently, so that's why all my settings are all goofed. Actually, I kind of like that. Let me see. What if I kept? Yeah, that's probably okay. Color's not right though. Also, maybe change how the little mount for this works too. Give it a different shape. It's also good for the shape of the wands to be different, so you can kind of recognize them at a glance. It says for the shotgun wand, a prism. That's kind of a cool idea. Yeah, prism. So yeah, most prisms tend to be triangular. Yeah, let's just go for it. Psh, let's do it. So let me let's see what it's like. I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate this layer. So that way I don't lose any work, but I'm going to just work on this new one and see if I can make it look more prismy. So let me start off by kind of blocking out the shape. Like it should be triangular. It's going to look so. I'm just going to do that. I mean, it's a little big, but I can play around with the shape a little bit to see what I like. Kind of looks okay. Captain James also suggesting putting the prism or the gem at the end of a wand, which is also not a bad idea either. Yeah, so this might be another just stream of me kind of playing around with designs for wands. So I'm cool with that. Let me real quick also, let me just select this guy. Control J. Select that. Delete it off the original layer, so that's not there. Duplicate that. Put it there. Merge that down. So we have, there we go. So that way I can just work with the whole thing at once. There we go. Hey Chris, glad glad you could make it. Sorry, this is even later than normal for you, or earlier, however you look at it. Um, Thanks for joining. It's always cool when you can. Congrats on getting in the top 100 on Steam Greenlight. That's really, really awesome. For those of you who don't know, Chesy 500 is a developer working on a game called Sky Noon, which is a fast-paced first-person shooter set in an alternate Wild West that has floating chunks of rock that you kind of battle on, and the chunks of rock have like cool like Western stuff like saloons and or windmills and stuff. It looks really cool, and I'm excited for the project, and I wish them all the best. S. Guilford says hi. Hello, S. Guilford. Thank you for joining my stream. Though I think it might be cool to maybe kind of also echo the proportion. I don't know. I'm just playing with how this looks. Yeah, no problem, Chris. I keep squinting my. Sorry if I keep squinting my eyes trying to make sure that this is going. This is actually going the way I think it's going. I think it's turning out okay. I'm not hating it quite yet. Um, yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I would like part of this update is going to be like not only like, making the wands like play differently, but also like kind of spicing up the visual effects as well. So yeah, definitely having like chunks of ice come out of this thing is on my list of things to do. Um, like I want to, because right now again the wands feel pretty samey, and we're trying to break that up. And one of the ways we can do that with is not only the how fast and how hard it hits, but also like playing around with some of the visuals as well. Um, so that's kind of looking interesting. Let me just do a let me do just a really let me do a really quick and dirty. Just I'm going to do some color shifts on this. Let me just I'm going to just again duplicate this so it's on its own layer, and I'm going to do Control U. Hue saturation, and I'm just going to slide the hue back and forth until I find stuff that, because like I want to have like color variation, right? You want to have contrasty colors, so not necessarily contrasty, but color variation, because if it's all blue, it's pretty monotone and not very interesting. That green was looking kind of cool, so like the greens, so having it exist still. I mean, green and blue are kind of close, but they're both cool colors. I worry about this not communicating. I worry about confusing people when it shoots out like different colored shots, but we'll see. I'm just playing and exploring. Okay, so that needs to be darker. Maybe more blue. Less saturated, maybe. My colors aren't super saturated. My colors are kind of pastel-y, so I don't want to get too far off of that. Maybe I should also have like the darks go from like a blue green, and then the highlights kind of more start getting warmer. So like these should be a little bit more yellow green. Just kind of playing around with colors, and it's fun. It's just an exploratory process. Let me see. Blah, 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 blah. Maybe a hexagonal crystal like an ice particle. Yep, yep. No, I definitely want like the ice wand to really read more ice when you're shooting it too. Um, Karaki Zenpachi says, "Did you code the engine for everything?" So again, to kind of touch base, I'm working. For those of you who are new to the stream, hi, I'm Joshua. I'm working on a game called Delver. We are on Steam in early access, so if you're cool with early access and you want to support us, you can buy it there. If not, you can wait for it to come out and buy it when it comes out. No biggie. We are a two-man team, and this is a passion project. It started off as a hobby project, but we got greenlit, so then it kind of became a second job. But I still love working on it. It's really cool project. I don't always have a lot of time, so this is the Sundays, is when I actually really knuckle down or settle down and carve out time to work on it. And this is when the community comes and chats with me and encourages me and lets me know when I'm getting off track. Yeah, so we're a two-man team working on this. I do all the art and visual stuff, so 2D, 3D, level design, UI. That's kind of my domain. And then Chad, the programmer, he actually wrote the engine, and he wrote the editors with the editor tool, and he does a lot of the business stuff. Yeah, so right now I'm kind of going off the idea that because the ice wand is kind of a shotgun, so maybe it kind of looks like a prism, or maybe the little spreader thing makes it seem more like it should be shooting a spread. I don't know. We'll I guess I will show you guys in engine here in a second, and that will be kind of like the moment of truth, right? Like if it actually is doing what I think it's doing, or if it's not, and then if it's not, I can fix it. Okay, let me just, yeah, I'm kind of cool with this direction. Let me just Control E, merge that all down, save it. Let me fire up the editor, and let's play a little bit, and let's kind of look at these new wands. Erase, play. I don't know, because like initially when I started working on art for Delver, I tried to avoid a lot of the high fantasy tropey stuff, but unfortunately, or unfortunately, that's what people really understand. So that's why I'm just kind of embracing that a little bit now. So like, you got the ice wand and the missile wand. So this is the ice wand, and it maybe if I was less like right now, it is like blue, like it's like red 0, green 0, blue 100, like 255 or 1.0, depending on how you do your color model. But maybe if I made that more of a blue-green, that would seem to fit a little bit better. And also now we've added a missile wand, we've tweaked the missile wand to be more of like a quick shot. So this kind of it does lower damage, but it has a fairly high fire rate, which is pretty cool. And it's an auto fire too. Like you don't have to keep mashing the fire. You can just hold it down, which is different. And this is just in an effort to differentiate how the wands work, because before now they were all very samey. And also, Chad has tweaked how the beam looks, which I think is interesting. I probably need to do some love on that too. So maybe I'll have some time to tweak on that too. But I think the new wand is looking okay. Yeah, I think it's looking all right. Maybe I want to tweak the handle on it just to maybe make it kind of agree more with how the designs on it's going. So what I'm thinking is kind of replicating some of these angular details. Yeah. So Chris, we're doing a redo of the wands, and well, yeah, it's a little drastic. It's not like, I don't know, like we're trying not to add too many features, because we've been developing this game Chad's been working on it like 4 years now, and I've been on the project in an official capacity for 3, which is a long time to be doing a project, because I guess we do have the luxury that this is a passion project, and like we can afford to take our time to get this right. But it is a long time, and we do want to be done with it. So part of getting it done is not taking on new features that don't absolutely need to be done. So I feel that changing how the wands work and kind of improving the VFX will help with the overall like feel of how wands and magic work. Because I do want to I think folks in the chat were bringing up magic isn't super what's the word, it's not the most reliable way to beat the game, because you can't, they're kind of you use them and then you throw it away. Yeah, unfortunately I can't keep doing more features. We need to be really kind of we need to carefully pick and choose which new features we take on and complete. So the wands with no gems straights, while the wand with no gem looks straight, while the others looks like they're facing the player. It's a bit weird. Krogan, can you please clarify? I'm not quite sure what you mean. So Zaraki's and Pachi's saying, is it actually the game's in 3D but everything's drawn in 2D? Yeah. So we're kind of, so the game is 3D and we do have low poly 3D models, but we also have 2D sprites. Like the enemies and the items are all sprites, and the level geometry and a lot of the breakable stuff and props are 3D models. Yeah, people keep asking about a wand charging station. Again, I kind of like the fact that they're like a use and lose kind of thing, but I would also like I would like to add some utility to empty wands. But I'm not quite sure what that would be yet, but I think it could be interesting. Okay, that's cool. Fire wand. Obviously, red is cool. Red is good because it's fire. So I might have to change the handle a little bit. Let me go ahead and save that. So, so Krogan, are you referring to the perspective from within game? Is that what you mean? Because I think I understand what you're saying, and I'm pretty sure I need to fix it. I think I'll talk about it right now because I think I know what you're saying. So, so a couple examples. So if I put a wand, let's look at the ice wand because that's what I'm playing around with. Let's also look at melee. Which one is it? Melee 4. Melee 2. Steel mace. So a couple of things is when I'm holding the wand, it's at a pretty steep angle to the camera. But if you look at I guess the mace is the same. Okay, yeah. So so with the mace, I actually am trying to rotate it more to face the camera so you can see a better view of it. So like for the swords and stuff, this works okay because swords are flat, right? But for some things like this mace, we know they're cylindrical, so I can rotate it towards the camera a little bit more to make it look like it has more volume without really kind of making it look wonky. And I think I want to do the same thing with wands. I want to rotate the wands to face the camera a little bit more, because right now they're kind of held up a little too, they're just too much at an angle, and it's not really showing off all the cool stuff that's going on there. So again, is it? I mean, we could bump up the number of charges. I like the fact that wands, you have to keep finding new ones. So we could bump up the number of shots per to make them a little bit more useful. Again, this is something that we kind of figured out through playtesting, and you folks give us feedback on. So I appreciate this. Yeah, I mean, we want to avoid crafting Crippy, because Crippy's suggesting having like some sort of forge you throw stuff into. That sounds like a lot of work right now. Right now, reworking the wands is work, but it's not like adding whole new functionality. It's just tweaking existing. Um, um, it looks like says, how about you make the max with two sprites like Paper Tree? Blah, 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 blah. Says the gem is on a socket. As a user, you'd like to see some of the socket than the gem. Again, um, I'm not quite sure what you're talking about, but another thing too is this view is not only the first person view, it's also the view of it in the inventory and on the ground. So we have to kind of make some concessions as to how they're stylized, right? I could paint in like perspective and foreshortening, but then it would look weird if it's not when it's not in your hand. D3RM4STER says, "How are you?" I'm good. Thank you for asking. I'm on vacation and I'm hanging out with you guys because you guys are my community, and I like hanging out with you guys. You support me, and I appreciate that. Okay, so I think for the fireball wand, maybe some sort of circular thing. Let me just Control Shift in for new layer, and maybe it's circular. That would seem to make sense. I guess I have like the Ethereum orb is kind of this red color, so maybe I'll start there. Like this big old. Bloop. Right now we don't have so Eska Alfred is asking about player knockback for the bazooka wand. And we don't have really much player knockback at all. So I keep getting my keys confused. I'm used to. Okay. Cool. Yeah, so I don't really want to move the player too much. I mean, it is something we could do. And I was also, yeah. I'll think about it. It's not a terrible suggestion. It's just something we haven't done yet. Blah, 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 blah. The lightning one, he always felt like there's a horn, ancient lightning or something. Yeah. So with the horn, I probably won't add a crystal to that. It's not necessarily necessary. And if I mean that's a good point too. Like with the paralyzed wand, there's no crystal there, so maybe I don't need to add crystals to everything. Should the fire wand have one or no? Maybe not for the lightning one. Yeah, I like to think it's some sort of weird like it's some sort of like unicorn horn or some kind of horn ripped off a beast, and that's kind of the way I went with it. But it is kind of monotone, and I would like to maybe add some color variation. So I'm not sure if I should put some sort of like ribbon wrapped around it or something to kind of help just make it a little bit more interesting. Okay, yeah, I agree with you, Chris. I think the straight wands are the more like traditional wands that people kind of think of when you think of wands. And I'm not opposed to having crazy ones. Like, I think also having them have unique, like the wands also having like a hex shape and a triangle shape and a round shape might really also help differentiate them too. Yeah. So yeah, that's a good point. Like these wands are definitely man-made. And maybe these ones are just like they're acquired. Like here you have to tear this horn off of a beast, and this one you have to go like cut this branch off this particular tree at this kind of like while you're doing this rite of passage to get this weird kind of paralyzed wand. So yeah, so maybe having some man-made and some of these like procured is kind of a cool differentiation. But I might want to make this just a touch, this be a little bit bigger. Oh, come on. Why are you? Oh, grab the eraser home. There we go. There we go. Okay. And again, do let me know if stuff's like if audio's messed up or anything else, because I am recording from my hotel room on my laptop. So this is not my usual setup. So if things are amiss, I apologize, and if you can help guide me, straighten them out, I'd appreciate it. So Captain O'James says a really cool feature can be floats mob drop on the water. If we kill a mob in the water, it's a nightmare to find. Yeah, in early versions of Delver, if you dropped an item in the water, like it was like you couldn't pick it up. Like it was there, but there was a bug in the how we detected what you could pick up, and you could never pick it up. So I don't know. I mean, and to be fair, like some stuff would not float, and it like if your sword falls in the water, like you'd have to be like groping around on your hands and knees trying to find it. Yeah, so Chris, the paralyzed wand, I've kind of repurposed the old missile wand. I've added a few more leaves to it, but yeah. Yep, Vron 404 is suggesting maybe lava particles. So if you watched my past streams, I did actually I did put particles on the lava. It's just that we have a bug right now that whenever the engine tries to spawn particles above lava, they just don't show up. Like in the editor, it works perfect, but when I like actually launch the game, they don't show. So that's something that needs to be happening. But yeah, I'd love to have like occasionally like a bubble kind of come up and boop, and pop, and just have those kind of just sprinkled across the surface of lava. I think that would be really cool. I think it would also be interesting to maybe allow like texture variations, like we have variations for like the static geometry. Maybe having some different lava textures that we can kind of sprinkle in there too might break it up a little bit as well. The water in Delver is not transparent. It is 100% opaque. Okay, so let me think. So we should have like something like we have like I'm just gonna put down some temp colors and we'll fix them later. So we should have like, yuck, it looks awful. Joshua, bad colors. Something like, because this is perfectly spherical, so we should have like we should have a nice like, and it'll also probably shine. So we should have a nice hard highlight there. Let me just fix that because it's like hurting my eyes. Let's turn the sat up. Play with the lightness. Maybe change the hue a little bit. Also, this red is way harsh. Let me fix that as well. Maybe hue shift a little bit, maybe towards the purple because I like purple. Maybe pull the lightness down a little. Actually, maybe if this is a fire wand, maybe it should be more orangey. That seems to make the most sense. Sat up. Yeah, okay. And maybe shift it even more towards yellow. So considering the blood, like actually I've tried to keep the violent stuff kind of toned down, and that's just mostly because like I like if we made Delver like more realistic, it would be pretty dark. In the first couple of levels of the dungeon, you're killing normal humans. Like it's kind of, if you think about it, kind of messed up. So by keeping it kind of light and cartoony, I think it helps it not be so grim. And since right now I'm struggling with color choices, I'm just going to just kind of copy the colors from this over here, and then I'll do the same little hue shift thing I was doing to kind of is this the wrong? So pick and nope. There we go. Okay, yeah, I had selection. Still had a selection made, and maybe use this dark outline. Maybe probably make that a little bit more boxy, then add some AA. So do something like that. And then find a darker shade like that. Help it have a little bit more form. And I think I have a. Do I have a mid? I might have a midway shade. Let's see. Is this the correct direction or no? Sometimes. If I can't tell, because I want to make sure my values aren't being messed up. So if I'm going from light to dark, like having so light to dark is value, and if the ramp isn't correct, like if I go like light, darker, darker, then brighter than darker, it looks weird. So sometimes it's helpful in Photoshop to throw on a hue saturation adjustment layer, and then just turn the saturation all the way down, and this just lets you see it in grayscale. And that way I can toggle it on and off and see, yeah, this actually is working the way that I think it is. So that green I added around the center here is darker than the little highlight spot, so it is working like I think it ought. Chris is, let me see, Chris is asking, have I thought about the wand flames? Yeah. So, yeah, we talked about having it leave flames, because I do have a flame animation and a small flame animation, so I think it would be cool if it left some flames on the ground, but I don't want to get too crazy. I think maybe if we just spawn some flame entities at the explosion spot and let it live there for a few seconds and do damage, because I don't want to have to worry about like fire propagation and crazy stuff like that. I just want maybe just a couple like flames that kind of sit there for a bit and then go away. So it says, okay, remember the green gem shoots blue and the other orange shoots red. Yeah, so again, these colors are all just kind of like a work in progress. So I'll get the wands how I like them, and then I'll adjust their shot colors. And eventually I will be redoing the shot colors too, so they won't be just tinted white sprites. They'll actually be like, hand-drawn and animated sprites that should mesh better with the wands in general. Botulism Sauce says, "Holy mackerel! I'm such a big fan for Delver. Thank you for making it." Yeah, it's very kind. It's very kind of you to say. Like, I love working on it, and like sometimes like the work is really easy, and I'm like in the groove and loving it, and sometimes the work is really hard, and I'm like really really frustrated, and I'm like all freaking out. My wife has to like calm me down, remind me that that creative endeavors are hard. So. Yeah, thank you for the love. I appreciate that. So Chris is asking about Steam Dev Days. So yeah, so both Chad and I from the Delver team, I guess, or Priority Interrupt. Really, yeah. So we only get to see each other a few times a year, if we're lucky, because I live in Seattle and he lives down in San Francisco. So. Steam Dev Day it's a nice developer event, but it's also nice that we get to kind of hang out and talk shop. Even though we do chat online most days, but it also helps just to have a like face-to-face time is really super valuable. Yeah. And I also got to meet a lot of other really cool devs. It's always weird meeting devs like that you respect their work. it's cool and it's fun, and I met some really really awesome, kind people. Everybody's so nice that I meet, and they're always so talented. Curse them. So I still want this little bit of a highlight back here. I'm trying to figure out how to make that. Like I want. Trying to make this read correct. Like I want a little bit of a. Like I want a little bit of something kind of shining through, like, yeah. If I look up like say like crystal ball, how about ruby ball? Yeah. So you see here, here's a good example of it's actually darker up here. So maybe that's what I need to fix. I need to have this high specular, and there's like this bright spot on the other side. So let's, yeah, like this too. That's really, ooh, that's cool. So like have this dark gradient to where it gets lighter. Maybe that's what's wrong with it. So let me fix that. That's why you should always use reference and not try to do it out of your memory, because at least I'm to the advanced years now that my memory is not what it used to be. I may need to introduce more colors to support what I'm trying to do here, but we'll see. Also, I might need to tweak the shape and color of this as well. We'll see. Again, just exploring stuff. Try not to get too precious with my designs, you know. It's looking all right. So Wild Bear Art says hello. Hey, thanks for dropping in. I guess I'm drawing a crystal orb right now. That's a cool thing to draw. So also what I really need is I probably need a darker color. Pull the brightness down a bit, and let's shift the hue a little bit. Again, I'm ultimately going to change this too, but let's just do this like this. Again, to help kind of call out. Also, let me just real quickly just make that selection, and then tweak it with this. So like that, darker. There we go. More sat, less sat. I guess at this point you can't really tell. Maybe not so much hue shifty. I don't know. It's looking okay. Okay. I don't know if that reads super well though either. Yeah. So Nicholas Patton is saying, "Is that a wand?" Yeah. So yep. I am tweaking the wands. They're getting some love. D3RM4STER says, "I have to go to bed now. See you in a week." Yep. Take care. Thank you for stopping by. So again, for those of you new to chat, my name is Joshua. I'm working on a game called Delver. I do all the art. I do all the 2D, 3D art, level design. A guy named Chad does all of the programming and a lot of the game design and business stuff. So we're a two-man team working on this game. We're in Steam Early Access. We recently put out an update last September. Yeah, so last month. That was a pretty big update, and I am pushing for the next update, which should come out in November. Which is kind of like this, like a visual effects. We're improving the quality of that. We're also working on fixing up the UI, and we're also differentiating the wands a little bit. So it's a lot. It's kind of a lot, I guess. Yeah, it is. I'll be honest. Yeah. Okay. And Unfortunately, I'm going to have to try to keep today's stream pretty short because I'm in fact on vacation, but I'm working, so I like working on this. But I will have to go here in maybe 10 minutes or so. So after I finish this, I'll probably play a little bit of Delver, talk about it, and answer questions as I go. So Nicholas Patton is asking, this might be a little personal, but what percentage of the profits do I receive from this game? I don't want to throw out exact numbers, but like Steam does take their cut, and then I do get a percentage after that cut for my part of the work. I don't really feel super comfortable talking specific numbers. I can tell you that I love working on Delver, but I do not make enough to actually make a living. I live up in the Seattle area, and it's pretty expensive up there. So this is definitely a passion project. I would love to keep working on it, and I'm trying to figure out a way to make myself sustainable. And I don't know, like I'm not a super, I don't know, like business is new to me, right? Like by trade, I am a software engineer, and I love art, and that's why I do art. And I'm just trying to figure out, I guess, my way. Take care, Chris. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. Yeah, so Krogan is also pointing out that the dark, yeah, like this is way dark compared to the bright bottom, so I need to be mindful of that. And also, this might also mean that I need to do, like, also tighten up the because like I have a pretty high like spec dot here, and that just really isn't the case at all. Hey, sweetheart. So let me maybe make this spec highlight much smaller, and then I can actually focus on maybe adding a darker gradient around this too. Again, just kind of picking colors at random and kind of working them, making sure that they feel okay. Yeah, no, like I said, I don't really feel comfortable giving exact numbers. I'm just kind of saying, like, yeah. So hopefully my non-answer is okay. Playing around with the spec highlight there, so make sure that it actually is reading again like I think it ought to be. I don't know. I mean, it's hard. I don't know. 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 let me just take a peek and see what that looks like. I mean, also I would need some way of like affixing it to the actual like uh, the wand itself. Yuck. Okay, that's super rough. But let me just flatten it out, save it. Let's play some. I have like maybe 5 minutes left. My family is back from their walk, and I'll go ahead and do 5 minutes. I'll take questions. I'll play a little Delver, and yeah, and then we'll call it a stream. So Nicholas, if so, we were actually looking at like here's a picture of a real like ruby, and it's just the way that the light falls actually. Really highly or the way that the light passes through the object really affects how the shading is, right? Um, Again, I may tweak this. It doesn't necessarily have to be a ruby wand. It can be any other sort of material, and as long as it reads well, that's the ultimate. I guess well, I got lucky enough to actually have it appear here, so that kind of looks okay. Um, I will definitely be tweaking it to make it work better, but I'm just going to play a little bit of Delver, and that's how we'll end the stream today. And if you notice, we also added, so breakables now do shake a little bit when you hit them, which indicates that they actually are breakable. And that way you're not just attacking something that just won't ever break. Also, we were working on adding like special items, so this is why it has the blue text. So a heavy skull cap apparently slows you down. So I'd rather have my speed, so I won't. Let me just go ahead and just put it in my inventory because I don't really want it. Okay. Yeah, it definitely feels a little bit like Doom. Chad and I both really love first-person shooter games from the 1990s. Like Heretic, Hexen, Doom, Doom 2. I really like the build engine games personally. I'm also really into like Daggerfall and Ultima Underworld, and this is kind of like a tribute to all of those. Whoa! But it also has it's a new, yeah, that's kind of a cool little, what's he doing there? Oh, it must have a beam attached to it. That's nice. It has a beam trail. So, but yeah, this is kind of our tribute to those games, and it's a procedural game on top of that. So it's like a procedural Doom, Daggerfall, Ultima thing. So we do have some light RPG elements. You know, there's levels and there's stats, but we don't want to go too crazy on that. There's no classes or anything like that. It should be. We want it to play pretty quick. We want it to be pretty easy. Yes. Mage's Fine Iron Spike Mace. So 6 to 8 damage plus 1 magic. That's handy. Well, it's also interesting too because if you notice when I equip it, magic goes up by 1, so I get an extra shot with my wand. But as soon as I switch back to my wand, I lose my +1, so it goes back down. It's kind of an interesting stat bonus. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but maybe people can find out. Maybe actually junk items now. If the junk item has a magical plus stat, you can put it in your offhand, and it would actually be worthwhile. -4 attack armor. No, thank you. Let him attack, and then I'm gonna rush him. There we go. And another magical mace. This one does 6 to 8 plus 1 magic. This one does 4 to 6 plus 5 ice damage. I think that's slightly better. Yeah. So let's go with that. There's a zombie down there. And so the ice damage, what it does is it slows enemies down. I want to add an effect to communicate that better. And that is on the list of things to do. Like the statuses, like slowed or poisoned or paralyzed. We want to use VFX to better communicate that. I'm getting a little turned around because I guess somebody opened up a door here, and I wasn't expecting that. Yep, let's go down. Um, and I'm playing pretty quick here. I'm not like very thoroughly searching the levels. I'm just kind of sliding my way through. Whoa! I almost got hit by. Whoa! Whoa! There was one, yeah. And I think I want to fix this too, where it's not just a decal. I want to actually have some level geometry on the wall, so it's a little bit easier to pick out where the magic traps are. Because right now they're pretty well hidden, and I'd rather telegraph it. Oh, telegraph it a little bit better. Ah, you got me. Ah. Oh man, you also can time your attacks, and you can actually knock spells out of the air if you time it perfectly. But every item has slightly different timing, so it's really kind of tricky to do. Like you have to have the frame line up just right. But I think this is probably a good time to actually end the stream. Let me just make sure I'm not missing any questions. So will the enemy pathfinding be reworked like in a room with big water? They drop into the water, walk straight at me, and then get stuck in the pit. I would say probably not at this point in time, because if I remember right, like we have a big navigation graph, and they just always move towards you. I mean, usually, so if there's a way to get back out of the water, so if they can actually climb back out of the water, they will do that and then come after you. But if they drop into something and they can't get back out, I think they just try to go as close to you as they can. And if they're hurt, of course, they run away from you. I don't foresee us reworking that too much in the future. I think it's kind of okay that the enemies are dumb. That way you can make them walk into traps and stuff. Okay. Again, thank you guys and gals and just everybody, folks, for showing up and supporting me. Today's a short stream, but again, as always, I appreciate your support, both financially for buying the game and just for hanging out with me and motivating me to do good work. My next regular scheduled stream will be next Sunday at noon Pacific time, and I will see you folks then. Take care.